You've reached the Union of Metro Street podcast, where we discuss the San Diego music scene of the late 80s and all of the 90s, from the shows we worked to the shows we played. Here we go.
So that was Jon Cougar Concentration Camp, and we've got Clint sitting in with us. What's up, brother?
Everybody. How you doing, man? Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. It's been a long time, huh?
Yeah, it sure has.
So Jon Cougar Concentration Camp. What was the name of that song again?
That was Not That Dumb. That's a song we recorded back in 2004, I think.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm an original member of that band, Jon Cougar Concentration Camp. Started with Chris Fields and my best friend Travis Milligan back in the short-lived house. And I think we had been together 3 months and we put out our first 7-inch called Back in the Day. But,
okay, yeah.
But I was in that band from, 94 till 97, out of the band because I had family and kids. Went back to the band 2004, did a reunion and had recorded some of that record right there, but that's about it.
Oh, okay.
But my cousin Travis had been in the band the whole time.
Oh, okay.
He was the bass player. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's just dive down all the way down deep. What got you into music and what age and why?
Know, right?
Is it skateboards or seems to be a running theme?
When I was a young kid, I was a young kid growing up in the Ramona country estates, actually, and a lot of my friends, they're all into skateboarding, so I got my first kamikaze skateboard, I think, and then got into Palo Peralta. A lot of my friends back in those days were building backyard ramps and stuff.
Right.
And this, this is like, I would say 86,
Okay.
And, with, of course, we all know that with skateboarding comes like punk rock music. I was a young kid. My parents listened to all sorts of music growing up. So I had a variety of things that I did like, but punk rock music was something that really hit me. And I just loved it from day one, especially, the skate rock and stuff and everything that comes with that. My grandfather used to come pick me up and take me to Del Mar Skate Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
In Del Mar, and he would pick me up every Sunday and a couple of friends, and he would take us down there at 9 in.the morning and stay until like 3 o'clock.
Wow.
Like every Sunday. So that's what skateboarding, and I've been still skateboarding my whole life until I've recently, kind of retired on that because working, being old, and taking slams doesn't go together.
Yeah.
I think skating and punk rock really go together. So,
right.
My first days of playing music was, because I was maybe injured or had an injury, and I would pick up a guitar and start playing, music of my favorite bands. And I remember when I was young, I'm like, oh man, some of my first bands that I liked here in San Diego was like Social Spit.
Okay, yeah.
Really love that band. Santa Claus was another.
Oh, yep.
Eminence. So I remember I don't know, I was 14 or 15. My mom taking me to Home Avenue and dropped me off and watching, Christ on Parade and RKL and all these other, Social Spit and Santa Claus would always be open up for these bands. So, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
I really, this is like memory lane here.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like I haven't even thought about Santa Claus for quite a while. The name was always like, why the fuck would you pick that name? But it made sense because you would remember it. Oh, and I don't remember the drummer's name, but Paul, and he did vocals and did drums, right?
Yeah, and that was something unique about that band.
Yeah,
was the drummer sang, and
yeah,
I don't think there's many bands that do that even today.
Yeah.
I think you see it more today than you did back then. But back then, when you would see a drummer singing, you'd be like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, and they had more of a metal edge to them too. So it was even.
Oh, absolutely.
So they could play with bands back then. If you were still in Ramona, or
we had I was living in Ramona as a kid skateboarding. I think my parents moved to Santee in 1986.
Okay.
So when we moved to I used to go to Ramona shows when I was a kid. My friends were into punk rock, so we would go to their parents would take us, drop us off at the Palisades, shit like that. But I didn't start getting into playing music until I got down here in Santee area,
And that was in 86, because I moved out there in 87, I believe.
Sure. So,
and the scene out there, it was kind of weird being out in Santee for me, because I was from Mira Mesa. Yeah. So I started in Point Loma, but that's most of my time in Mira Mesa. Went out there, and then, as we all know, talked about it before, the Wiener Schnitzel, and that's where Short Lived and everything came from.
Yeah.
But the bands around there, you would have bands like, Psychotic Waltz, who were still Oslon back then, if I remember.
Wow. Okay.
And then there was kind of like this young scene emerging. There's bands like Blasphemy and other metal bands that would do house parties. Yeah. Did you go to any of those house parties back then, or?
No, I did not.
Because it was kind of a different scene.
Yeah, it is.
Especially for
I love house parties.
Yeah.
House parties are some of the best shows. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I think one of the house parties that I remember, it wasn't Ramona too. It was the 9th, Short Lived, and the Missing Children or something like that. And it was like a backyard house party, which are still fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Was that in Ramona?
Yeah, it was Ramona, but that's when I was down here. But the show just happened to be Ramona. I think I would say that was 91.
Right.
Era. Yeah.
That sounds maybe 90, because I started, because you remember the 9th had their place in Spring Valley called The Cave.
I do remember that.
And they had the shows there.
I've never been to a show there. I've been to the house once, just cruising there through there with Ara and Jeff Kelly, because they were buddies. But I was, friends with him. But he just took me over there and we cruised around. They showed me around. I was really, I was wowed by it looked like a cave. I was like, why they call this thing the cave? I mean, they had paper mache the whole inside looked like a cave, which I thought was really genius.
It went all the way down through all the rooms. So to get into Ara's room, you had to duck down, and you had to know where the doorknob was for the bathroom and everything. I always thought that was so brilliant. And then Jerry, so they had Palisades seats, 3 rows of seats, I believe, in there.
I thought it was like at least 10, right?
I don't even remember.
But it was a weird concept. It was like a roller skate ring / movie theater almost. They left those rows of seats there for a while, right?
And the sign, the Dick Floyd show.
Yeah.
Where the video, the 9th did a couple of videos, and you could see that. I've named the band that.
Yeah.
But so that was kind of when I started doing more, and, Short Lived was doing, and we were working with the 9th, and that's how I ended up getting to Soma. I'm trying to put together because we were in the same scene, all the same people.
Yeah.
But like at some point it went from, I would go to a couple of those metal parties because
Sure.
Well, for one, Trip West and the singer of Aslan Psychotic Waltz, Buddy, I believe, worked there.
Okay.
So I could go there and get my records.
Yep.
And then Brian lived in the same complex as where I was living, the guy in the wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, it went from those metal backyard parties
Right.
to we're kind of all hanging out through Wiener Schnitzel with Short Lived. They eventually got the Shady Lane apartment.
Yep.
And we started going to more shows. I started booking some shows. We would go to Iguanas or whatever. And then it just started to grow and grow. And at what point did you come into the scene there?
I remember I was still part of the scene, but still just a young punk skateboarding still.
Mm-hmm.
You know, really didn't know those guys back then, but just still, you know, loving punk rock. Going to shows with my best friend who we skate together every day, you know, being dropped off at the Palisades, Wabash Hall. And then, what else?
There's a California theater as well. With still,
Theater. There's a lot of venues. But as far as coming into the Soma days, I think it was after I met those guys in Short Lived. A lot of backyard. I had met them at a backyard party. A friend of mine said, "Hey, you love these guys, man." And so I went there, and there was, I think it was Dahmer's Diner, Short Lived, and Converter. Was the show. So, and Broccoli Shoeshine. That was the other.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, and that's how I met all those guys, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we would, as soon as I hooked up with those guys, it was all about, you know, skateboarding kind of took a back seat to going to shows and playing music.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because a lot of those guys didn't skate, but.
Yeah. Well,
but
even by then, I was barely skating that much. I mean, I'd ride the red curb out, but it was all about trying to do the band thing and to being part of the scene. And now,
absolutely,
you know, something outside of Wiener Schnitzel we had all together. So it got more into the drinking and just trying to create music and trying to, you know, find ourselves. But for me, I would have been, at this time, is obviously the early 20s. I think when I first started booking shows, I just turned 21. So at what age would you have been then? So if...
Well, I think I was about 19.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're just a couple of years younger than me.
Yeah, I just turned 50, so...
Okay, I'm just turned 54.
Yeah, so
you were still really, really kind of young.
Yeah. I mean, I started hanging with those guys in Short Lived when I was about 18, 19.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and I do remember coming to the Selma shows and seeing you, and I thought to myself, I was like, wow, he's got, like, face piercings, and, like,
Oh, yeah.
I think the wrestler from the Cindy Lauper videos, Captain Lou, I think he was, like, the only guy that had something like that back in the day. But you were another one of the guys that I was just, like, intrigued by. I was like, wow. I thought it was really cool.
Because I had all the nose and then my ears, and then later I got more. And
you had tons of metal in your face.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I would be called everything from tackle box to, you know.
Yeah.
You go fishing today? Why? Because you got one of your lures stuck in. Thanks, Sammy.
That when we did that Jim Rose circus show, did one of the guys, was it Lifto or the Enigma, that said, "Man, that looks like it hurt." To you?
Yeah, it probably would have been Enigma. He and I hit it off pretty well. And I was looking at his piercings, just going, "Damn!" And his whole face is tattooed, and here I am, just like, you know, I thought it was pretty mellow considering, but. On that being said, it was kind of drastic. The only other person I knew of was Barney from Napalm Death, who had his nose pierced 3 times. And that's all I would wear. I had 2 on one side and 1 on the other.
Right.
Because I didn't like the septum one. But, my ears were all knocked up with, I had so much metal in my face.
Sure.
I just started replacing with tattoos as I got older.
Right.
But I had to take them out to get a real job. But that's me, and it's not here. So going back to the when you're hanging out with all the Short-Lived guys and Dahmers and all of that, did you already play an instrument or?
Yeah, I mean, I was always just jamming at home on my. Never was in a band actually.
Right.
Never in a band, just jamming at home and stuff. But I remember when the guys brought me over, they were like, hey, we used to have an apartment, but now we got a house. And my parents lived in Santee at the time, and I lived with them. And it was pretty much not even far from there. So they invited me over, and they had converted their whole garage of the house into like a practice spot, and it was really great soundproof. And I mean, one of the greatest things was they would have these house parties,
Yeah.
And Short Lived would play, and they would have bands from like Chula Vista. I remember this is when I first met all the guys from Chicken Farm.
Yeah.
They came down, and I think Billy Club had played that night, and that's, Rob Logic. And
Yeah.
they're the Mice now, but they're called Billy Club back then. But that was like one of the house party shows. And I was so enamored by the talent and how good these bands are. I mean, Chicken Farm, I think, and it's funny because like, that's the Chula Vista scene, and we had this scene, but that kind of like brought the whole scene all together, like those house parties and everybody hanging out, and Chicken Farm was so good. I remember how great they were.
I to this day cannot sing their praises.
Great band.
So much love for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just they
Sure.
I've had to bring that up many times. I'm probably boring the listeners with it, but Chicken Farm, my God, that whole South Bay scene was just insane. So much talent.
Yeah, the Kids was another phenomenal band. Jason Whedon played bass for Chicken Farm, and he had started the Kids with his friend Jeff. And Vic brought B-side players, drummer now, but he was the drummer for the Kids back. And that was another, I've been in many bands,
right?
And something I can say about being in a band is, it doesn't matter who's in the band. It's just like it's the dynamic of it. It doesn't even matter how good you play the instrument. It's just like I've been in a lot of bands where it just doesn't mesh. You know what I mean? But there's sometimes you get these guys together and there's a certain magic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I know a lot of bands that have that. Like, I thought the Kids had that. Definitely Chicken Farm had that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something that's special, I think,
Yeah.
But yeah, those shows back then were great, and hanging out at the Short Lived house, he had so many characters coming over. That's when I first met the guys from CTD, Brent and Lenny, and
Mark.
Dude, it was
Jack.
Yeah, Jack. Jack's triple sax. Yeah.
I still see him every now and again too.
Yeah.
He's still doing the courier, so I see him on his bike.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
I think he's doing OB.
I do see him all the time too. Actually, at postal shows. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, those days were awesome, man. And I started playing. That's when I started playing music back then.
Mm-hmm.
Started jamming with Matt Newell from Converter.
Right.
We started a band together. I had a friend from the Navy, Travis Milligan. He was the original drummer for Jon Cougar, but before Jon Cougar, me and him had been in a couple bands. One of those bands was called Ed, and I always remember like the sticker. It was like Ed, and it was like this dumb guy with his hat flipped up, and he had his mouth open, and he just full beer cans were just going in his mouth, And the Ed it was abbreviated for Educated Drunks. So
okay,
but it was just a 3-piece band. We just fucking around, but it was kind of good. We got to play with Mr. T Experience and stuff. The band kind of sounded like Cringer. It was a 3-piece, so it was really fun. So that was my first experience, playing in a real band. Playing shows. So and then after that, it was this band called Filter that we did. It was ironic. It was short-lived, but we had played some cool shows with, short-lived, Dahmer's Diner, Chicken Farm. We all went out to Yuma, played on just a tractor trailer in the middle of the desert.
Oh, no way.
And
that's one of my dreams.
Dude, it was so awesome. It was like a generator in the background. Like I said, all those bands played. Early Family Bombers were playing. Face to Face played that show, and that's when I first saw Face to Face. I was like, "Oh, these guys are so great!"
Yeah.
And a month later, I saw a flyer that Face to Face is playing in the Dungeon at Soma.
Yeah.
So I went to that show and saw them, but I already knew before that. I was like, "Oh, dude, Face to Face is like a main stage like band. I mean, they were so good. You know?
Yeah.
But a lot of people didn't hear about them when they had played the Dungeon and all that. I think that's like right maybe before they blew up.
That's exactly. I don't remember how I even got a hold of them.
Sure.
Or maybe they got a hold of me. But that's that's how we had to start bands out and had to cut their teeth.
Yeah.
And then once they came through and started pushing, that put things to a different level. They were so much fun when we were all young.
Yeah.
Just when they would pull up in their van, they had this little thing. Trevor would usually be driving, but Matt and I were the ones that were really goofy, and Rob was a little bit more reserved.
Sure.
But they would pull up, of course, come out to meet everyone, just flick a quarter up in the air to see who can get it first. Whoever got it first, well, they were the first in line. And then piled on. It depended on Trevor's mood, obviously, but at least Matt and I and Rob would go for that quarter. It was, we just looked like idiots, but it was one of those things that made it so much fun. That was back before everyone was, starting to cut their teeth. And
sure.
So we're talking early days. This is probably, that would have been what, 90?
90.
Okay.
Yep. Not 90.
Yeah. So what'd you end up going from there? Were you still doing?
Well, there was a break in 90 because I had moved up to San Francisco, lived with a girl in the city, and then moved back in, I would say, 91.
Okay.
So I got back in all those guys and started hanging out, at the short-lived house and stuff. So 92.
Okay.
So, yeah. But,
You do any music when you were up there, or?
No, I did not.
You just kind of...
No. Just skateboarding and living and working and
the girl.
And the girl. Yeah. A girl that was 10 years older than me. I was 19. She was 29.
She was doing you.
It was a good gig. I mean, she got me a job at Victoria's Secrets.
Oh, shit.
I mean, they called me the stock boy, but it was one of the best jobs ever, man. I was like, this is great. So I did the stock boy at Victoria's Secrets and then did the hot dog cart during the day in the city, which is kind of fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I think I've heard stories about the stock boy. That just like rings a bell.
That's when the Victoria's Secrets catalogs were still pretty hot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Sheer, you could see stuff. And...
Oh, yeah. Hey, stock boy, go get me this bra. This is how I know all about bra sizes, cup sizes, and all that stuff. Give me a 34C. And, I had to go up there and grab one and run over to the dressing room and, all the girls would be like, hi, this is awesome. Love this. I mean, I don't look like I do now when I was back then, but yeah, but I moved back and, broke up with the girl, of course, moved back, got really into, collecting records, was a huge Lookout Records, collector, loved everything from, Lookout and East Bay Punk.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because when I was living out there, I never went to Gilman. I could have just jumped on the tram and went there.
Yeah.
But I really didn't had a clue until I got back,
Yeah.
And when I got back, it's a lot of my friends were into that music and, they're showing me all these, I remember Des P was into Sam I Am, he was huge, which is still one of my all-time favorite bands. I just love that man. They're kind of poppy and, Chris Fields always makes fun of me. He calls them college rock, but I think they're great.
I think they did play once. I do remember them. We went up there on a little tour, and it was short-lived, and some of the guys from Struggle.
Yeah.
And short-lived played. They played Gilman, and we were just up there for a couple 3 days. I think they might have played somewhere else as well. I'm not sure. But when I was up there, that's, we were in the thick of it. I remember I got a flipper 7-inch. I talked to Tony from Ill Repute, and that's how I got Ill Repute. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to come down with the Offspring and the Grimm. And so I had him come down and play. But the scene up there at Gilman, it was crazy. I mean, it was so tight-knit, the early Green Day and all that. It was just incredible. The amount of music that they were putting out. And then, of course, you got Maximum Rock and Roll up there.
Yep.
Was Flipside from up there, or were they in Ventura?
I think I thought that was Santa Cruz or Ventura area magazine. Yeah, but we definitely Maximum Rock and Roll.
Yeah,
definitely from there. Yeah,
and I mean that's Book Your Own Fucking Life was out of Maximum Rock and Roll, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Which
is great. That was awesome, right?
Which reminds me, later we'll touch base on it again. But remember Genetic Disorder?
Yes,
I still have a copy. The cartoon one. It's not the devil. Is it the devil one? I don't remember. But Larry, who did that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, so that scene up there is Lookout. Hugely influential on a ton of bands.
Absolutely.
Just having them play down here, we knew we were going to do good. Jawbox, Jawbreaker.
Yep.
Anything from that scene.
Dead Kennedys.
Yeah. Well, I never got to have them. Yeah. Op Ivy. And then there was another. Then you get like Girls versus Boys.
Yep. Monsula was another great band from there.
God, there's so many great bands from up in that. So that started.
Ramona Writers. So many good bands. Yeah.
Would you say that was a heavy influence as far as your music writing, or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I would say the East Bay punk scene, and definitely the scene in Chicago. I would say.
Okay.
I mean, was a huge Screeching Weasel fan. I mean, that's one of the bands that really, all their songs were always easy to play.
Yeah.
But it made me realize, like, sometimes the easiest stuff is stuff that sounds really good,
Yeah.
But, but I've always been into all sorts of music. Before I was 21, I loved the straight edge scene,
Okay.
I remember I lived in San Pedro right before I moved to San Francisco, and I used to go to this club called Toe Jams and see bands like Infest and Madball and Inside Out was a huge band. Zach Del Rosa from Rage Against the Machine, that was his band before Rage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're called Inside Out. And it's funny, Inside Out was some of the guys from Force Down and Amenity, which came from San Diego. But they also were doing Inside Out with up in Long Beach. But it was a huge hardcore, Gorilla Biscuits, all that. I mean, they're from New York, but I loved all that. That whole scene was pretty awesome. I loved, I just love punk rock music. I mean, those were the good days, man.
There was a lot of, speaking of that scene and Amenity, and there was a struggle. Used to do, this would be after.
I remember.
Dylan shows, when he would do his shows down in his basement, they would cram, 60, 80 kids into, to where you could just basically pogo.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And they were some of the most insane shows down there. I like that scene a lot. I like the diversity of it.
Yeah.
Even though I felt like a kook showing up in my leather jacket and all these kids are
just,
the complete opposite, but there was still the unity.
Oh, yeah.
And again, the talent out of that was amazing.
It was.
Did you ever get into like any metal or like Slayer, Venom, and Metallica and all that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, big time. I mean, like I said, huge fan of all music. But I remember, going to Off the Record and finding Metallica Kill 'Em All in the summer of 1983 and going, what's this?
Yeah.
And bringing it home going, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I loved, Exodus, Venom, so many bands, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But, I mean, I was a huge metal fan. My best friend growing up was into punk rock. His older brother was a metal just maniac, and he would always drag me to all these metal shows. He'd be like, oh, this band Megadeth is playing. You should come with me. And he would drag me to these shows, and I'd be like, this is awesome, man. Yeah, but no, I've always, loved. I think my, earlier days, grew up liking heavy metal. Of course, I'm a huge AC/DC fan, and Metallica and Queensryche and all that stuff. Definitely loved all that stuff, but.
Is that an influence in the music that you play?
I don't know. Maybe subconsciously.
Just sort of back there. But
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's, for me, again, I guess I have a lot of influences, obviously, but when I listen to any of the old Venom, I find myself in my bass playing style. It's if you take away basically Cronus's vocals, which I also do, distorted kind of, growly vocals, but you take it away and you just get it down to the essentials. It's just another punk rock band. Yeah. So when I listen to Slayer and all the noodling and all that, I can appreciate it for what it is and the darkness and all that. But for me, my main, influence is just straightforward punk rock or rock and roll, for a lack of putting an absolute label on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's my bands have been crazy all over the map and the things that I've done. But with you,
same here.
Like what, where's your kind of like, what's the niche? What's when you start playing, where do you go? Like influence wise, is it just a 3-chord thing? Or?
Yeah, usually just a 3-chord punk thing. But, I definitely have that rock and roll influence,
Mm-hmm.
So, like bands like Turbo Negro or the Stooges, like anything like that. Like New York Dolls, like I love all that kind of style of, music. The Clash was one of the first bands that my parents had bought me a record,
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, but like I said, I think I'd like all types of music, but these days, yeah. I don't know.
Well, when you came back from San Francisco,
yeah,
after you had to, leave the job at Victoria's Secret, and so you came back down. Do you go directly back to the short-lived house and be like, "Hey guys, I'm back. Let's."
Yeah, actually, yeah, pretty much. I was like, just like, where's all my friends at? Like, hey, I'm back.
Yeah.
But yeah. What's funny is I didn't know everybody back then. Don't think I knew Chris very well or Ray, but okay. I knew Dennis and Matt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I came back, and like I said, we did all those. I did the Ed band with Matt. We did Filter. I did a band with the Twins. I remember like a lot of during that time was like Pearl Jam was popular and Stone Temple Pilots and I don't know if this is after Dahmer's or before. I'm trying to think. Yeah, this has been a long time, but
yeah,
I started jamming with the Twins. That was really fun. We kind of did experiment band called Shadrach. Really never went anywhere, but remember Chris, what's his name? Frank Melendez was inspired by it, so he had recorded a 4-track recording for us. But that band really never really went anywhere. But we did shortly start after that. We started. Me and Chris had a falling out, but we had became friends again, and we started Jon Cougar because my buddy Travis Mergelin, we had been in multiple bands together, and it was just like one night at a party, we just all happened to just like pick up guitar, we're like, let's play some songs,
Yeah.
So it was like, let's play some Screeching Weasel songs. So we did that,
Yeah.
And then I think we just like came up with a riff and we made up a song called Back in the Day.
Okay.
And that's where it all started. That was like the magical moment of starting that band, was like, we had that one song that people liked,
Yeah.
And, shortly after we had we only had been for 3 months and we hit Nestor's studio.
Oh, yeah.
And Frank had recorded us 5 songs on the first 7 inch.
Okay.
So.
And what band was that?
That was Jon Cougar Concentration. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's wow.
Yeah.
So it's just total kismet and everything just.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And so that's Frank from
Sprung Monkey.
Sprung Monkey? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember him having a connection with the kid, and that's probably how I got a hold of Sprung Monkey.
Yeah, well, he was good friends with all the guys in Short Lived, with Ray and Dennis, and I noticed they had Short Lived and Sprung Monkey had a connection.
Yeah,
all friends, and they played a lot of shows together, and that's another good band. I like Sprung Monkey.
Yeah.
They were awesome. That was the first time I saw Sam I Am. Was Sprung Monkey had opened up for them on the main stage at Market.
Okay.
Soma. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's in one of my. Actually, yeah, I think I took a picture and put it on the group because if I've been telling people, I found my old books.
Yeah.
So I got all the notes of everything I was telling you earlier, like Short-Lived Party, Ramona with the band. So that's all of everything that I was writing down as things were growing. I thought I lost them for a while because I don't have flyers, and I got rid of all the demo tapes, and I've got rid of tons of stuff because I never thought after I left Soma, I thought I'm not going to be, that part of my life is done. I'm doing this. I don't need this stuff.
Sure.
And now, as you can tell, as a collector, I kind of hold on to things a little bit more.
Oh, right. I love all the skateboards and stuff. This is great.
Yeah, and then I get the boardroom over there with my train, and there's stacks and stacks. And
do you still talk to Lynn, by the way?
No. It just blatantly come out with no.
And he doesn't do anymore.
He might be involved with the new one, but no, he no.
Oh.
I'm done with him. I don't. No.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be as. The reality of it is the damage that he had done, the shit that he had talked. There's things that I started to find out more and more as time went on.
Sure.
I definitely am in my own self. And it took me quite a few years and a lot of therapy to understand that there's just a lot of shit talked, and it just fucked with my head. I was young when I left Soma, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And he kind of compounded it. He could have kept his fucking mouth shut.
Sure. Yeah.
And just, not try to... Jerry, what's a good way of putting it? To slander me and everything about me and put me in a category that I didn't quite fit in.
Yeah.
Trying to be as nice about it as possible.
I hear you.
I can go off. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's no love lost.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because we both left somewhat because of Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn was
I remember he was not a very popular guy.
He was just a stress case, and I mean, running a business, especially dealing with all ages, there's a lot of litigation. You never know when something's going to go down, and so I kind of get it where he was at, but at the same time, if it's going to stress you out, why do it? And I brought him back to the third Soma because originally it was Scott Rayner and I.
Yeah.
We wanted to, Scott's like, hey, if it wasn't for Soma, Blink wouldn't have been where they're at. That's where we got our start. So when Golden Voice walked out on Metro, I was bummed, because actually Lynn had sold it and I was running for Golden Voice. And then Lynn took off to go sailing. And a couple years later, I'm like, I was out tour managing and still trying to keep my foot in the door with music. And I'm like, shit, I really want to bring back Soma. So Scott reached out to me. Hey, I got some money. Let's do it. And we did. We brought Lynn back. And eventually we opened, actually this is a 20-year reunion for, I shouldn't say 20-year reunion. It's the new Soma's been open 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
October 2002, we opened the new Soma, and I left in June of 2004 because I just couldn't deal with the stress that Lynn was throwing on me. And it's just like, I put a lot of time, and every weekend, pretty much I was working every day because I worked my regular job and then drove down from Oxnard to San Diego to run the building, and it was just too much. And then he had a psychological way of manipulating people,
right?
Pretty much to control.
Yeah.
So he was pretty abusive. The way he ran people down, kind of trying to keep them under him and trying to control them.
Yeah.
And that's not how you do things. I've always been a people person. My way of doing things was actually being friends with everybody, and there was no need for all the stress and just running people down. It doesn't get you anywhere really.
Yeah.
But obviously it worked for him. But again, he's in his 70s. He's 72. August. I'm surprised he's still around because he just stressed out all the time. I'm surprised he didn't have a massive heart attack.
Yeah.
So
I remember he wasn't a very popular person.
Yeah.
Remember he would announce shows and people were like, "Fuck you, Len," and it's so funny because he'd be like announcing and they'd be like, "No, fuck you," and everybody would just like shit on him. You know, I always thought that was hilarious.
Everybody has their issues. Len was a businessman and
absolutely
trying to run an all ages club in San Diego where pretty much all the venues are 21 and up.
Yeah, no, they were.
So
and
absolutely,
I'll give it to him in this because we've discussed this before. We talked with Sammy, our old sound guy. He saw something in me. He let me go in there, book the bands, be the front person, minus the important people like the city people, until I was on the cover of the Tribune. But he let me get away with so much shit.
Yeah,
how many bands I booked. And I was just so in it. I didn't see the money. Like I was just talking with Mike Spent the other day because Mike's going to come on and we're going to talk. And I didn't make shit. I always had roommates. I would sometimes have to pay the guys for cleaning up out of my pocket, so I'd leave minus money. There was no money in it for me. I was homeless multiple times while working there.
Yeah.
He kept me under him enough, and I was naive enough and focused and drunk enough to just try to keep booking the shows because I wanted to create the scene, and I felt so obligated to do what I was doing for the scene, for all the bands.
Sure.
That was my life. To be shit on afterwards by him and then to be shunned so much. Well, I kind of expect it from a lot of these other promoters.
Yeah.
But unlike a lot of the other promoters in this town and other people running clubs and all that, I did not have a silver spoon. I had a plastic spork, and it was missing 2 teeth. I grew up from nothing. If it wasn't for skateboards and my art, I would have nothing. Literally nothing. I'd just in a bad place. So he gave me an opportunity to do what I did with Soma. And one of these days we're going to go over it again, and I'd love to have Ray Cam in to talk about it as well.
Yeah.
But when he gave me the opportunity to book these shows there, I did my thing.
Yeah.
And he tried to take me under his wing and have me, basically be more like him. There's no fucking way I could.
Right.
There's just no way.
It's not. You don't even have a bone in your body to be like that.
No. I don't. I'm fucking Irish.
Right. Exactly.
I'm at the bottom of the barrel as far as, But, I also didn't have his money. I had to do everything. If I was to book a band, I had to convince Len that it was worth it to book them. I had to do all my chemistry on the show to make sure it would work. I had to take chances all the time. So I had to be, and I'm not really a people person, really.
Yeah.
I'm an introvert in many ways, but I had to come out of my shell. So he did enable me to do what I was able to do for the scene. But that being said, too, going back to he had the money. He drove around the Porsche, so it looked a lot more, higher up. So people like Mike thought I was making money. I'm like, no, dude, I'm not like these other guys.
Yeah.
Len's money was not my money. So I didn't have mommy and daddy paying for everything so I could start a club and book punk rock shows. No, I did. Everything was grassroots. So my approach with every band was grassroots. So as we started splitting the short-lived guys and we started splitting that scene. Yeah, please. Eye to eye.
Right.
Then I just I had to really stay in my shell. So I had a lot of things. We're talking a lot about Len right here, but this is something that we've never talked about.
It's true. Yeah.
So there's more things that I need to know about as we go.
And what's funny is I've known you for a long time, and everything you're talking about, I recognize those transitions.
Yeah.
And from even from
Give me chills.
from Union and then going to Metro because you were still there at Metro.
Yeah.
And I think this is where Len wanted you to take more control or be more like him.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people kind of, jokingly, maybe behind your back, said he's trying to be like Len or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I could just tell that you weren't comfortable with that. You always want to do it your own way.
Oh yeah. I'm getting chills thinking about it right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
And one of the things that I hated the most, which I'm pretty sure is kind of already known, is I hate rock stars. Fucking despise them.
Sure.
Fuck you. Fuck your money. Fuck your band. When you come and play Soma, you're playing for our people. This is my house.
Yeah.
Treat it with respect.
Sure.
Do your thing. Do your band. Do you. Don't change for anyone. You respect me. And if I have Len coming and yelling at me because you done something or whatever, don't put me in the fucking...
I would like to get back to the short-lived house and all that stuff because it's so funny because I don't know what it is. My older age, the timelines start getting fucked up, and I start brain farting. But dude, what were some of the worst bands? I mean, as far as just
rock stars or
it played it so much. Didn't listen to the rules. Trashed the green room or just like you were like, we're not having them.
Pennywise.
Oh, really?
Pennywise. Straight up. I know this is gonna bite me in the ass, and no, I'm not putting my archives in their fucking museum. Right. Fletcher. Number one, the fans of and their crew and Pennywise walked all over me. Like as if I was the doormat, and then they would go to Len. Len tried to get Fletcher to kick my ass in the back of Soma. He told him straight up. He goes, Fletcher. That's kind of my El Duce voice, but he's like, he told Fletcher. And this is so diluted at this point because I've told it so many times. Sure. He basically just told Fletcher that I don't like it when Pennywise plays. And so he says, Fletcher's looking at me. He's 17 feet tall, and he's looking at the top of my mohawk and straight through my brain. And I'm thinking, I'm going to have to fucking climb up this guy and frickin' punch him in the head and then run. Just straight up his leg like a little cockroach and punch him and run. And then I'm going to have to frickin' drive my car through Soma and hopefully hit Len. This is bullshit. I'm a little bit more dramatic right now because I could tell someone that's never heard this story. But
sure.
The long and the short is Fletcher asked, what the fuck's up with that? So you guys come in here, you disrespect me, you disrespect the club, you guys are fucking rude, and then I point at Len, and then I have this fucking asshole yelling at me for the shit that you guys pull. I go, that's fucking bullshit or something like that. I don't remember word for word.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what it was.
Is that all you have? Just Pennywise? No other.
Oh no! I'm just getting started.
I'll just some shit out.
No, we're getting it too. When Flipper played Metro, no, they played Union and Market. So the bass player, I think it was bass player singer at that time, because they've gone through so much. He was coming down. He wanted drugs. Fucking Len tells me, "Well, you're a punk rocker. Go get some fucking drugs." I'm like, I don't fucking do drugs. I was, for one, this is going to come out eventually, but I was clean off of dope. I used to do meth, and then I stopped in 86 because I went to jail and I fucked up. So I was clean.
Right.
I drank. I didn't even really like smoking pot because I didn't want to be a fucking hippie. So Len's yelling at me to go and get some drugs for him to make him go on stage. And one of the crew or someone's like, "You just go play. You're a bass player. You can just go. The songs." I'm like, I got a 7-inch. I don't know, and I got to do my thing here.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird and awkward. But when local bands, there's a few local bands, and they would know if they listened to this, who treated me like I was, because...
Hold on, they're like, please don't say it.
Well, I'm not going to call them out by name. But they would, because you deal with me until you get so many people, and then you start playing the main stage. And this is something I found out from other bands that Len had really poked and prodded, like, you just got to deal with him, and then you can deal with me. Then you really make the money. So he might as well have just said, start with him because no one else will give you a chance ever in this fucking town. Once you make money, I'm going to take you on.
Right.
But it's kind of glamorizing it. But it was true. A lot of bands just treated me like I was beneath them because they started to become rock stars.
Right.
So we'll just do a gloss over on that. Megadeth, when I had to have a backstage pass to be where I worked, that pissed me off. That was really pissy. I can't. There's.
Well, not only that, with the Megadeth show, we had a New Year's Eve show the night after that, or the morning after that, I should say.
Oh yeah, so that means we had a rave. Oh, the raves! I lost my mind when we had to do those fucking raves. But as far as bands, I mean, right now I'm remembering the good ones, like kicking the ball with the guys in Radiohead out in the parking lot. Not with Tom, but with the other guys. There was, I mean, realistically, in my heart of hearts, once I get Len out of the way,
yeah,
and I think about the talent that I got to work with,
yeah,
and to see the careers that people have, like Mike Clovis, who was Sammy's, his apprentice on sound, is now on the Kiss cruise. So
nice.
Shout out to Mike Clovis, the Claw. People have, really amazing careers. And those are the things that I really realistically like to think about.
Yeah.
Because if I think about the dark shit, it's too depressing, you know. Yeah. And hence was like having people like you come in, because we've ran in that circle.
Yeah.
Yet I don't even know, when I'm looking through all of this stuff. See, I'm getting chills again. When I'm looking through the videos and stuff that you sent me, I'm just blown away.
Yeah. So
much talent. And it just, why am I not doing this anymore? So, right. But if Jerry and I can sit and talk with people,
yeah,
that's what it's about now. The shit show and all that. Let's do a couple more bands that were a pain in the ass, Jerry. What do you? I know you got.
Okay, so Metro, for one thing, Metro was in a cul-de-sac and it had other businesses around it, which we had to deal with. My whole thing is never disrespect the house. We'll respect your band if you respect us. So
yeah,
pretty simple. In any venue I go into when I tour, I'm not going to go and fuck things up because I might be going back there.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna dish the shit out.
Are you gonna do Super Suckers?
That's one of them. You read my mind. Super Suckers had a tour bus, and if anybody remembers our little backstage area for where the buses pulled in,
I remember the little chain link fence area back there.
Yeah. Well, for some reason, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't even the Super Suckers. Maybe it was just their bus driver. They decided to dump their sewage, their tank, in the parking lot in the back.
Holy moly.
That is totally fucked up. And
talking about shitting
and we're talking a lot of it, obviously. Oh, yeah. If it was full.
It was full. And they dumped the whole thing in the back, which pissed me off. And then also attitudes or egos. We're all human.
Yeah.
There's no need for that shit.
No.
Yeah.
And actually, to me, I think musicians actually have less of an ego. It's more actors that have egos because they're not themselves. They're always acting.
Yeah.
Where musicians are who they are. Unless you have this fake stage, presence or whatever. But
yeah.
So my other problem band would be the Aquabats, because they like to light off fireworks during the day. Outside around our businesses, all we need is the cops coming because they're illegal in San Diego. Right. So I had that problem. They were just kind of out of control, kind of kooky guys. But the only guy that was really cool in that band was Travis. Travis was always laid back, and he'd always apologize to me when they're doing shit. Sure. And he was from Riverside, so he knew. Because I don't think I think the other guys were from out of state.
Right.
The other band I had problems with, which are now friends of mine, would be, at the time they were River Phoenix. They became Phoenix TX.
Okay.
They were opening for Blink 182 when Blink did the shows there with Unwritten Law. It was supposed to be 2 nights.
Yeah.
And originally Mark got sick on the first 2 nights, so we had to cancel the shows. You weren't there. That was when Golden West was running it.
Yeah.
So these guys from Houston, Texas, Phoenix TX, came in and they decided to fuck the dressing room up. They took the condiments, ketchup and mustard, and shot them all over the walls. And I was like, who the fuck did this? And I'm like, fuck you guys. You never play here again, blah, blah, blah. And then they totally said, they totally apologized. And I'm like, you don't disrespect the house.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I think the other band I had issues.
Sublime.
Well, I never had problems with them.
I did.
They were just always wasted.
Which now I understand more because we're talking with the original drummer, Adam from Slightly Stupid.
Were you there when Madball played? And it was Scar. They brought Scarhead out. And Scarhead, they basically went around and tagged all the businesses around our area. Mm-hmm. And Lynn actually threw them out.
Yeah, I think
out.
Oh, ICP was another one. But that's the thing is, I mean, at the end of the show, and this is the dark side, but at the end of the show, I had people who, Jerry did it. My guitarist did it. There's a lot of people. There's some joke in there, but I'm not going to go there about doing it. But people would help clean up the lots. We're talking from 7-Eleven all the way up past Coke, just under USD. That whole area had to be cleaned. Had to make it look like there was no show there. Otherwise, the community would slowly start slipping and then give us more and more problems. Graffiti was a huge problem. Drinking in the parking lots was a huge problem. Yeah. The thing about any of that is, but none of us knows as a kid, if you're really nonchalant and you're just sitting there having your beer in your car,
sure,
you're not going to get fucked with. That beer bottle comes out, breaks.
Remember that was a huge thing in the downtown Soma. It was a lot of the underage kids would drink in the parking lot, and then
but back there, no one cared.
Break the bottles on the fucking parking lot. Like, that's how you get burnt, Yeah.
And back there, we got away with so much down there. But Metro was, because it became.
It is now what it is, but back then, people don't remember what it looked like back then. Remember, it looked like a dark alley you'd be killed in.
Yeah,
it's like
the building.
It was scary.
It was scary.
The building where the loading docks are next to us. Len and I went in there because we were always looking at expanding. Like right now, I heard there's some problems with the California Theater. They had to clean it out, and the owner is responsible for doing something with it.
Yeah,
we looked at the California Theater as a possible next Soma. No parking.
Yeah.
That was kind of me. Mike Nevison, the head of security, and myself would each be given a floor, and we would run it. Because, again, I don't know how I got so much liberty, but half the time, near the end, when, we got to get back to the lot stuff, but, I was basically running the back. Mike was running the front. Len would just kind of show up and then leave. The crew that we had running Metro was tighter than something. Mm-hmm. It fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the people, like I said, with the cleaning up of the lots, so there might be 5 or 6 people. They would get in for free or whatever, or like Jerry would end up doing security and then cleaning and then moving up and up and up and up and up and up. Sure. But the lots would have to be cleaned, and sometimes I'd get money from Len, sometimes I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But we had to make it look like it wasn't a freaking punk rock club, which by then it kind of really wasn't. It was more, especially in my mind, it was about just creating a scene, a safe place for the kids to go to.
Sure.
A place for talent to cut their teeth. To learn how to do that. So you play with me, you get a certain amount of people, you walk on me, you go up to Len, but you still have to deal with me every freaking time you play.
Sure.
And you grow and you start making money, you start getting bigger and bigger, and then, millionaires. And, like Green Day, when I brought them in, that was because of Jenna.
Oh, yeah.
Jenna's the one that said, hey, can you book these guys?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
See, again,
right?
The chills.
Dude,
we've been like...
I remember going to see Green Day at Shea Cafe for $3.
Yeah.
And they played with like a lot of, East Bay punk bands inside. It was like Monsula and
Probably be like Jawbox.
I think Jawbox is from DC actually, but Jawbreaker
right.
is from East Bay and Jawbox DC. But I think it was Monsula. I remember Converter. Dennis B from Short Lived Side Band. He had a side band called Converter.
Yeah.
He did with Matt and
Ray
and Sam. No, it was Matt and Sam played drums and Jason Solon sang. And it was a side band called Converter. They were fun. But I remember seeing Green Day for $3, and when I knew how great they were going to be is when they were fucking just nailing, right? They're just playing, and all of a sudden the whole fucking power shuts out in the whole building. Everything goes dark. But guess what? They didn't miss a beat. The drummer just starts tapping, and you can hear their strings like still going, and they're just still singing,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, about 10 seconds later, boom, the power hits on, and they didn't miss one beat. Boom, they're still going, song's still going. I'm just going, holy fuck, that was so awesome.
And that's back when they were still hippie kids.
Yeah, that's when they were still riding vans. I think Kerplunk had just come out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But before Dookie.
The bookmobile that they were on a bookmobile.
I think that's what they called it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so the good stuff definitely outweighs the bad stuff, and the bad stuff we can, harp on.
Yeah, because pretty much that's why those shitty shows or those shitty bands stand out, because there wasn't that many.
Mm-hmm.
It was more good than it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Even the bad stuff. I mean, there'd be nights where it was just, for whatever reason, it was rough, and but I mean, that's life, realistically.
Yeah, sure.
And the good thing is about the way that Metro was and how it was just, everything was basically just put together and run, was because of the fact of the talent that we had doing every job. And you just you knew that you can go in there and you could kind of push the boundaries, but you also knew that's the one place you really don't want to fuck up. Because when we were still doing Union, I mean, I'm not going to name names, but there was a lot of back and forth, and people would shut down shows just to shut down shows. There's people with egos.
Sure.
That's what happens when you got a lot of money, or your family has a lot of money, and then you end up being in a band, and you call it a punk rock band, and you just go around and you're trying to dictate and fuck things up. And everyone there were so many different agendas. And one thing especially that still to this day bums me out, there's half of the scene that gets all this credibility and all this hype and, oh, this is San Diego. But that scene is the bar scene. What about everything on my side of the table?
Sure.
I mean, if I wasn't able to do what I was able to do at Union, Jerry and Scott one opened up this one. The Soma name, the Soma brand, its legacy, it's still around to this day. And I started in 89, and it was around, I believe it was 88 when Len first started doing, and he only did a couple shows. Ministry had played there, Danzig had played there. I think there was someone else that had played there. I got in there right before Scream, or maybe I was already doing shows when Scream played. So that's why I want to get Dave Grohl in here.
Yeah.
I have my people contacting his people. Actually, I don't, because I would just DM them on fucking Instagram. But no, I would love to have him come in because, the Foo Fighters had played there.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But these stages are the same stages that a lot of the local bands got to, cut their teeth on and do their thing.
Sure.
So to drag it through the mud, again, the good outweighs the bad. So speaking of the good, let's go right back into Jon Cougar.
Sure.
And you guys cut your 7-inch.
Yeah.
And that was after, how long did you say? 5 months?
3 months.
3 months.
We were together, a band for 3 months, and we had cut back in the day 7-inch.
Okay.
at Nestor's, and
I think I have that.
And I remember it's the one with the bird on the finger. And I remember the day that it came out, we had a show it was at Tang Records when they were down in Pacific Beach.
Oh, yeah.
And 15, we played with 15 and the Kids. And that was the first, and that was something else in itself. I mean, I was always a huge Crimp Shine fan, but
yeah.
I think when we played with 15, Jeff Ott had really been strung out and dope, and he played naked that show. And I never seen anybody's hip bones sticking out so crazy. But so. But you know, I would like to go back to talk about Dahmer's, because during that time, Short Lived had this side band called Dahmer's Diner. This is towards the end of Short Lived too.
Yeah.
So Dahmer's Diner was Ray Cam, guitar player for Short Lived. One of the twins, Jeff, the bass player.
Yeah.
Chris Fields on drums. He was the second drummer for Short Lived. And then the original drummer, Sam Kelly, on vocals. And this is the first band that Sam Kelly ever sang in. First of all, I thought it was a genius name because, you know, all that crazy Dahmer's thing had just happened. You know, shortly after, you know. And I thought it was genius. I was like, these guys are going to call themselves Dahmer's Diner? That's awesome. And the things they sing about, like eating people and all this stuff, I thought it was genius. But when I would go and just see them rehearse, I was just like in awe. I was just like, oh my God, these guys are going to be so huge. They're so awesome.
Yes.
You know, and then they had a write up in the Reader, you know,
Jeff on the cover.
Yep. Sam, I think it was Sam on the cover with the doll.
Oh, was it Sam?
Yeah, it was Sam. But,
okay.
Yeah, but I just thought it would be. I thought they were going to be huge, you know, and then it didn't go so well after that. I don't know what happened.
That's the one thing, because I was, going over the videos and I'm watching them.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to it going, there's so much talent in here.
Sure.
I mean, just ridiculous amount of talent. Short Lived was talented.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dahmer's for supposedly a joke band.
Yeah.
I mean, what the...
They were great.
Jesus.
They're phenomenal. I mean, they wrote good songs.
Yeah.
Everybody played great. I mean, what they sung about was hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, they have this song called Rick Allen's Arm. It's about, the drummer from Def Leppard's arm that's gone coming to get you. You know? It's like hilarious stuff, you know?
And all the hype and everything.
They had a lot of hype when they did the Reader thing. And a lot of it was just like, it's like, because that was like, they had a band before that called Skunk Snot, and it was, it was a big joke, and I think that they started the same thing with Dahmer's, but Dahmer's actually they actually practiced and they actually had songs and they were actually good.
Yeah.
But I do remember them playing the main stage in Soma, and they played with Sandy Duncan's Eye or something.
Yeah.
But they had gotten mouthy with the crowd, and there's some skinheads that wanted to beat them up, and
that's right.
You remember, and then Sam was saying stuff to the skinheads like, "You look like you suck a big dick, and I bet you I suck a bigger dick than I do, and all this, or you suck a bigger dick than I do." Like he was just like riling the crowd up,
Yeah.
Which was not a good idea because you start riling the crowd up, like calling people,
especially not there.
I know exactly.
Yeah,
it wasn't gonna end well with them. So I think they had to be escorted off the stage and into the van right afterwards. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And that was part of the beginning of the tension, because I did everything I could to try to get whatever band they were doing to play.
Right.
But they also understood, because one thing that's not really talked about that much is we did have a huge skinhead problem in San Diego and, all over the place. But they were a certain amount of them were allowed, I guess a nice way to put it is at arm's length. You can come here. We will gladly take your money. I really don't know the reasoning behind it other than another head in the audience. And I've heard that there was kind of a scary element to have them at shows has
Sure.
been bandied about but nonetheless, they were at some shows.
Yeah.
I've actually had some run-ins with a couple of the ones that ended up, their views sucked big time, but I was able to express to them. I remember once just telling someone, he, confronted me because they always look like they're just going to come up and freaking try to eat your head and just devour you all the way down, which I never understood. It's like, you guys are just, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You guys are jocks.
Right.
With shaved head.
With shaved head. Yeah.
So I had to explain. Someone had confronted me, and I just explained, well, you don't disrespect the house. You're cool. My views are not like yours. I'm a fucking punk rocker. That's, I'm not a skinhead. Period. You don't fuck with me or whatever. It's probably a lot shorter than that because it's probably scared shitless. But nonetheless, I guess I gained some respect.
Sure.
But if you're going to go up there and you're going to antagonize them, and then plus, there's not just the skinheads, there was the Sueys. So you got DWK,
right,
and other people just come in, they just to fuck with the show.
And then you got other skinhead groups, because, like you had Sharp that didn't like the other skinheads.
Yeah. Then
it's a real issue. I remember seeing, going to a lot of shows and having problems with, meathead skinheads in the pit, like just picking on people and not cool. But I've never been a huge fan.
Yeah, Sam knew how to push the right buttons, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right.
So that's another thing of the Bruins, and I think that was probably one of the last shows at the Union location, if I remember correctly. I was talking to someone about this. I think I was talking to EJ. But nonetheless, that was at near the end because they were doing the development across the street. So then we had to find another place.
Yeah.
And then the two places that we rarely talk about is when we did a couple events at the Scottish Rite Center.
Okay.
Didn't JCC play there at one of the shows at Scottish Rite Center?
I think we did. I'm trying to think who we played with.
It would probably be Sprung, Buck 09, Ghoul Spoon.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. Yep.
Okay, because one of those I was sick as a dog. Yeah, and then, of course, it would have to be Unwritten Law.
Yep.
I know those flyers are floating around somewhere as well.
We played that. Yep. This is early Jon Cougar days, too.
So that would be a decent stage.
Yeah.
That would have been 94.
Okay.
94, 95, I think. Yeah.
Well, it would have been early 94 because that's Metro opened mid 94, I believe.
Yeah.
So it was that gap between closing.
That's when we were scouting
Union
at the location.
Because most all the good shows ended up going to Iguanas.
Yeah.
So, I'd have to go to Mexico to catch some pretty good shows. That would have been at Soma.
I got a crazy story about going to Iguanas, which was in a sense from the Short-Lived House. So Connie, you know Connie, right? So Connie,
Matt and Connie,
Matt and Connie. Connie lived at the Short-Lived House, and I don't know if it was her, but she had brought art. So they had this big. It was going to be the Epitaph show, and it was like the main bands was the Offspring Smash just came out, so they had blown up, and of course they were going to have and everybody's I think record at that time had come out.
Yeah.
So they had they had Offspring, Pennywise, Rancid, and RKL because RKL was on their album had came out.
Yeah.
Nightmare on something Elm or something like that.
I don't remember.
It was the Epitaph Records. Anyways, so they came down and stayed the night at the Short-Lived House. We ended up partying all night. Had some me and the Bomber, the bass player. We were sliding down the ice plants on cardboard boxes and shit, and just being stupid. But I had bought this Ford Galaxy 500 from Ray Cam.
Okay.
The old boat,
Oh, yeah.
So they were like, we need a ride. Clint, will you give us a ride? We'll get you in the show. So I was like, okay. So I literally got RKL in my car, and we drove down to Iguanas. And I drove into Tijuana. I drove everybody into there, parked in the parking lot, and go backstage, and it was funny because that's the first time I got yelled at by another band. It was so I guess RKL and Rancid had their own little area, and they were not Sprung Monkey, but Offspring and Pennywise had their own little area. Well, the areas are kind of close together, right? And one of the guys is like, "Hey, go get a beer. This is a cooler over there." I'm like, "Which one?" They're like, "That doesn't matter." Right? So I'm like, "All right." So I go over there and like open the cooler, like looking and stuff, and I'm like, grab, and all of a sudden this dude's like yelling at me. He's like, "Dude, why are you in our cooler still in our fucking beer?" I'm like, "Well, those guys." He's like, "No, there's shit's over there, dude. Get the fuck out of." And then I'm like, "Who was that?" And it was I guess it was Dexter from Offspring yelling at me like I was stealing his beer, It's like,
I remember this. That there's a few incidents of that. Yeah. I can remember of.
There's always incidents of that. People going into the dressing room, into the fridge, taking the beer.
Yeah.
But hey, I was just the guy that gave the RKL a ride. And they were like, "Yeah, just go grab a beer. It's cool." But, I walk in there. Nobody knows me,
Right.
Like, who the fuck are you? Get out of here.
That is so classic. It reminds me of Iguanas, too.
Oh, Iguanas. That was a classic venue. Yeah. That was such a great venue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a bad area.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But, so getting back to, did you ever play Iguanas?
No.
Okay.
No, never.
With none of the bands?
No, never.
Because we did a short-lived show there. I think it was Down by Law on the 9th? Or...
Down by Law the 9th. I think it was the Bad Religion show, actually, that played down.
Bad Religion and Down by Law and Short-Lived.
Short-Lived, yeah. Because I remember the Down by Law show was at Union.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was one of the last shows that I was actually at Iguanas.
Sure.
But speaking of, let's play another Cougar song.
Sounds good.
Really quick here.
Oh, actually, let's play.
What do you got?
I got a great song now that I remember. So Sprung Monkey actually had a song and gave it to Jon Cougar and said, "We want you guys to have this because it sounds more like you guys than it does us." So it's called Butt Cheese is what it's called. You might find it on.
What album is it on?
It's on a 7-inch called Punk Explosion.
Explosion. Yeah, I can't find it.
You have it on YouTube?
No.
Yeah, you might want to find it on YouTube. It's because it's on a 7-inch, and I don't know what Jon Cougar has on Apple Music. Because I don't do Apple Music, I do Amazon Music. But I think it's the same thing, actually. Usually, if you have it on Apple, you have it on Amazon.
Yeah. Jeremy likes to do this to me. He likes to say, "Hey, let's do a song." We're not prepared, so that's why we have the gap.
Okay.
Well, the problem is I had to pee really bad, and I find it a good excuse as you play a song, so I don't.
And then we have dead air as we're trying to find a damn song off my phone.
Sorry, guys.
I was hoping we're editing this, right?
Well,
Okay.
No, even this part's good because people are going to go, "Oh,
try to edit it as we go along." Yeah.
Yeah. When nature calls, you got to go. But the good thing is we get to hear more music.
Well, there you go. It's on the very top.
which is actually that it's kind of funny that they would send you one of their songs. So it's just completely written. They're like, here,
They pretty much wrote the whole song.
Math homework. Figured you could use it on such a hot day.
Yeah.
All right, so the story again.
Yeah, so I think Frank Melendez had written that song, and after he had left the band, I think that one of the guys from Small Monkey were like, hey, we're not going to play this song so you guys can have it, you know, because it sounds more like you guys. So we're like, okay, well,
yeah, and
we'll take it, you know, and Chris had shown us, you know, Chris had practiced the lead and was like, oh, it's a great harmony. Let's do this. And
that's awesome.
We did it, you know.
That's awesome. I remember that actually from back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember hearing it. But, you know, the story behind it, I would have had no idea.
Right.
Because if you think of it being a Sprung song, I mean, I could see Steve singing it. But
absolutely.
It's definitely a Cougar song.
Yeah,
for
sure. You know, with Chris's vocal style and all that.
Yeah, and so Chris did guitar and vocals.
Chris played guitar and vocals. I was the other guitar player. And my cousin Travis played bass. And Travis Milligan played drums on the first record. He was in the Navy. He was kicked out of the band for whatever reasons. I really wasn't down with it or happy about it.
Yeah.
And I remember us looking for a new drummer, but we were still doing recordings in the studio because Chris Fields is a phenomenal drummer. So he still, most of Jon Cougar's recordings are Chris playing drums.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of like the Dave Grohl thing. You know, I'm an awesome drummer, and so every drummer that joins Jon Cougar, Chris is like, look at him like, come on, man. You know what I mean?
Full girl.
Just like, come on, man. I know you can do better than that. But no, Chris is a phenomenal drummer.
But that's the thing. He is that freaking talented.
Yeah, he is. I can't. And like, if you want to hear someone play a drum and just listen, like, you'd be in awe if he would just put it on a 1 minute show for you. He's a great drummer. Yeah. And there's a lot of we do have a lot of phenomenal drummers in the scene, but what's awesome about Jon Cougar was Chris played guitar and sang, but we also had, if we didn't have a drummer and we wanted to record, we still had Chris.
Right.
Which is, you know,
so you can still keep moving.
Keep it moving forward. So I remember we had we had multiple drummers come in to fill in, like Vic from the Kids, who now plays with B-Side Players. He had played with us, I think, our first Casbah show, which is with Zeke, which was a band that, since we played that show with them, I'm like, these guys are great. And if you never heard of them, you should probably listen to that band.
Yeah. No, they're good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny because we had tryouts, and I remember funny story. So at the time when this happened, Short-Lived House was done and over with. You know?
Okay.
A lot of the guys moved out. Everybody went their own way. I think Dennis moved to Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody went their own ways. And my cousin Travis had bought a house, and he had a basement. So we started practicing there. And I remember at the time we needed a drummer, so we're doing tryouts. And so one of the guys that came was Tom DeLong. He came and because we knew him from, you know, before they were popular and big. We used to play shows with them, of course, you know, at SDSU and at Selma.
I think he claims you guys as an influence.
Absolutely. In fact, I remember in Metro, when it first opened, they had just blown up, right? Huge. Right. And I think they were playing with Rancid, but they had just came out with the album with the girl, the nurse on the front. I forget the name of the album.
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
But anyways, that was Enema of the State.
Yeah, Enema of the State.
But that's when Travis was in, so that was later on.
Yeah.
Because before that, it was Dude Ranch. Scott was in the band still.
So maybe it was Dude Ranch that came out.
And then Cheshire Cat with M&M's, which is the video they shot at Metro.
Okay. I think that's what the album was. It might have Dude Ranch, maybe. But I remember going to Selma, and because Chris was like, it's sold out. Should we just go down there? And we go down there, and Len's out front, and, you know, it's pretty much the whole Jon Cougar band just came down there.
Yeah.
And Len's all, Jon Cougar, how you guys doing? Come on in. And we're like, what the fuck?
Damn.
So we got, that's, I know the back areas. He just like, let's go to the back area, went in there. And when Blink was doing their set, we were on stage in the back when they were playing. And they were like, hey, anybody know Jon Cougar? And they were like, yeah, you know, whatever. But there you go. We stole this song from them, or riff from them for this song. And we were like, really? That's crazy. And that was, and you know, I've always been a huge, Tim Armstrong's always been a huge influence of mine. And I remember after they played, I went back and I saw Tim sitting on the curb in the back by the fence, you know, and I had a Jon Cougar Concentration Camp sticker, and I'm like, hey man, how you doing, Tim? Oh, actually, I call him Lent because that's his nickname.
Yeah, I still call him Lent.
Yeah, so I call him Lent because my name's Clint, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, Lent, I'm Clint. And he's like, oh, dude, that's awesome. Nice to meet you. And I gave him the sticker of the band, Jon Cougar Concentration. He's like, I love the name. And it's funny, is I still got a picture of that day on my phone right now, which is...
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And, but yeah, I remember going down there. But going back to the tryouts with Jon Cougar's getting a new drummer, Tom DeLong came down to try out, and he brought Matt with him. And Matt just sat on the side, but Tom gets up there and gets behind the drums, and he goes, dudes, I'm actually not that good to play with you guys. I just want to say that I came down and I tried out. So let's play some cover songs. And we're like, all right. So we just played like some Jawbreaker songs and some Screeching Weasel covers, and we had fun. It was awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we ended up, our drummer ended up being John Value, who actually plays in Inciting Riots now, and I'm still in the band with him. But back then, he was in the Neighbors. Alan had left the band, and John Value came in. They're both like phenomenal drummers.
Yeah.
But John was the guy we were like, yes, we're going to play with him. I think we recorded another 7-inch with him. We went to Berkeley, did a little, coast little tour thing with him. And he was so fun to play with in Jon Cougar. It's just fun to hang out with. But I remember he always made it. He was the one of those drummers. I mean, he played with the Neighbors. He was a super fast drummer.
Yeah.
So all our songs became sped up like ×2, which was hilarious, Yeah, I love those memories in those days, man. But and then I had left Jon Cougar after that in 97 or so, and pretty much just stopped playing music,
Wow.
because of a drug habit. I got me and my wife, we just got into fucking smoking meth like all the time, and we had a family and kids, and it was just a shit show, and doing that for 15 years, and then going to jail because of it, and spending a year in jail, and then getting out and going, okay, you got a 7-year suspended sentence over your head. What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
But still, I still had everybody's number, and never went back there, and just became, just said, okay, I'm done with this,
Yeah.
And even when I got out of jail, I had to still do the live-in rehab where you have to stay in there and live. And then, so 15 years of not playing music and then getting back into music, I just slowly got in touch with the friends that I used to play music with, and started doing other bands, And, but my cousin, Travis, he stayed in Jon Cougar, recorded albums with him, but what's really sad, my cousin Travis died of brain cancer a year and a half ago. He was only 47.
Wow.
It's a crazy story. But I'm just glad he got to play, with Screeching Weasel before he died, which is one of his all-time favorite bands. He got to do a show with Sloppy Seconds with Jon Cougar.
Oh, wow.
At Soda Bar, and these are all the bands that were inspirational to us as when we started the band. And he got to play with all those bands before he passed, which is special. And I love Jon Cougar. I don't have anything to do with the band anymore, but it's definitely I still have a connection to that band. I love all those guys, and I love Chris, and I love the time that I had with them, but I'm still doing music, still, I've been doing Inciting Riots. I think I joined Inciting Riots in 2004. Lenny has just always been a friend. We never played music together,
right?
But just, I always wanted to play with him,
Yeah.
I like Lenny.
Yeah, because it's Ugly Lenny.
Yeah, it's Ugly Lenny.
Right.
It's fun. It's also fun,
Yeah, I get to do. I don't know. Brett told you, but we jammed.
Oh, cool.
This is years ago.
Yeah.
Went over to, I believe it's his mom's house. Went into a little studio, and so somewhere there might be a recording of me doing vocals. Kelly. I forget her last name, but
okay.
Infamous Kelly.
I know her. Yeah.
And
Irish Kelly.
Yeah, and then but I'm trying to remember if there was someone else. I mean, this is years and years. It's just moons ago. So now you've gotten to play, and you're playing with Inciting Riots, and then is it Dying Species?
Yes.
So tell me about that, because I've seen a little bit, but I haven't really.
Yeah, that's a brand new band, actually. I've always been the guitar player in a band, never a front man. And I do dabble with writing my own songs. I play acoustic and write songs, and sometimes I'll go to places and open mics and do a set where I just sing and play.
Oh wow!
So Dying Species was a band that the Ashes from the Wastaways, which is another project I started about 7 years ago with Sam Kelly. COVID had killed the band because a lot of the members, things are going on. Our bass player is 44, just had a kid. COVID happened, so everybody kind of just like split.
And this was right after Deathiosaurus, when Sam and I were doing Deathiosaurus?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. So,
yeah, because he talked about putting a band together, and I was like, well, wait, what? Let me have
what's funny
it.
is we talked about covering some of those songs, and I was a huge fan of that Deathiosaurus stuff.
All right, cool.
Like I loved there was a song where it was like a guy and a girl fighting, and it was like one of your girlfriends or something. But I thought that song was great. And I was like, oh my God, this is great.
Yeah.
So that's how we started the Wastaways. We were like, oh, we want to do something like this. So,
yeah. And Anthem.
We got the band. Yeah. Anthem
we did we recorded it in here.
Sure.
And we did the vocal. And this is back when the other side of the house, there was a tenant over there.
Okay.
And we did the vocals right there in the hallway to get the echo.
Yeah.
And it was just, I thought, oh, this is brilliant, because Sam had written everything. And then I probably just like, I got to talk to these guys, and got a hold of Sam because he would answer.
Yeah.
And, the rest of the guy, Jeff, I don't know what I did to piss him off, but I guess even Ara's still kind of mad at me. I was supposed to go up to his wedding up in LA, but I couldn't because my car was kind of a piece of crap.
Sure.
And I worked a lot. So I'm not going to drive this thing up to LA and get stranded.
Right.
But it's Ara's wedding. But nonetheless, so after the Wastaways.
After the Wastaways, we started.
Did you guys record anything with that, or
with what?
With
the
Wastaways?
Yeah, we have 2 recordings. We have 2.
Okay.
The Wastaways actually have 2 albums. You can find those albums on Apple Music, Amazon, all your Spotify, all your social media platforms. You can find the Wastaways on there. Just plug there. But,
absolutely.
And it's a great band. I mean, we did 2 albums. I still wish we were doing that band, but like I said, everybody has lives. We're getting older. Guitar player, has young kids. The bass player just had a kid. COVID happened, so just shit happens and things fall apart sometimes. Yeah, like every band and everything.
Yeah,
but so we wanted to actually have we wanted to bring the Wastaways back, but for whatever reason, it didn't happen. So the people that were there, we were like, let's do our own thing.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a frontman and sing and play. So originally we had the drummer for the Wastaways and this new bass player, John. He's a lot younger now. So I'm 50. He's like 32.
Oh, wow.
Younger kid. But he was an awesome bass player. It was a huge Wastaways fan. So we're like, yeah, let's play. So we tried to do it a couple times and it just kind of fell apart. Didn't really happen because people's schedule and stuff. So and then we just started. Originally, the band was called Death Can Wait, and the drummer that we had, which was the drummer for the Wastaways, he ended up getting a promotion in his work and started working and stuff like nonstop. So I just called one of my old friends, Brett Keller. He's CTD. We actually had him fill in for a Wastaways show one time, so I saw his number, and he said he wanted to play music, hadn't been playing music, so I called him, got him down here, and we started writing songs. So, and now we just recorded an album, actually. It's in the process, and it's a 3-piece band, and it's just me, John, and Brett, and John sings, I sing. It's like a duo of singing back and forth, or just him singing, or just me singing. It's like it's pretty fun. It's pretty awesome. But and our next show is actually November 19th with He Who Cannot Be Named at the Tower Bar.
Really?
That's our next show. Yeah.
He cannot be named as doing his own thing now? Or?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it like dwarf stuff, or
I
is
don't,
it?
You know what's funny is I don't know.
Oh shit!
I just got the message today from Mick, who's a good friend of mine. He's also in my favorite local band right now called the Plagues. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to. Let's see. Is that Travis's band?
Yes, Travis.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my good buddy. And
Travis. Did drums with Brian, my guitarist, and we just recorded here.
Oh, cool.
Just jamming.
Nice.
And we did kind of Earthless stuff.
That is
just great. And he played on my wife's drums.
Right.
And at some point, I'll have to send you the link because we got the one song is 50-50 Grind into the Kingdom of the Gnomes.
Okay.
Because the longer the name, then you can withstand that long of a 10-minute jam. Just fill your pipe and just sit and enjoy. And we just record it on our phone, so it's. I think I can airdrop them.
Oh, that's right.
I'm not too.
I mean, hey, a lot of the phones now. I mean, I just got an iPhone 14. This thing records great, man.
It's kind of impressive, but it was just trying to figure out what we can do because for me, my schedule is so limited of what I can do, and I can't really go out and play shows. I got a lot of responsibilities, but it's mainly my schedule. Once it starts getting after 8 o'clock, I'm doing this.
Right.
And then, it's inevitable. I'm freaking getting old. But at 4:30 in the morning after a cup of coffee, want to go skate? Want to go build a house?
Right.
Want to go build a DIY ditch somewhere? Want to write an album? I'm good. But by noon, I'm taking a nap.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so what are the plans other than, that's just, he who cannot be named. It's so hard to say that really fucking fast.
I know, right? It is hard to say. Look, here's the message. I don't know I never heard of the other band.
Oh, I haven't heard of them, but wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just got
that just came in when we were here?
Yeah, on the way
So
here,
that's a good omen.
Yeah, I know, right?
And we got this gnat that's like flying between us.
I love it.
So what was the other band on there? Kind of just, you guys didn't say anything.
Smirchers?
Besmirchers? Besmirchers? What's besmirch? Is that when I think that's when you trash someone's name or something.
Oh yeah,
right.
It sounds kind of sounds familiar.
On the way here, I was like, "Who's these guys?" And they're really punk rock. Which Dying Species is they're kind of like a mix between punk rock, but not so poppy. Right. When I say pop punk, I would say more like Tiltwell pop punk.
Okay.
And then more East Bay punk too.
Okay.
But when I watched a video of them, the singer was fucking busting beer bottles on his head and smashing his head with it. It reminded me of Gigi Allen.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Which I love, Gigi Allen, by the way. A lot of people don't say that, but I do.
I have a son
who's 28 and he's
a GG.
And he also does bands and sings and stuff, but right now he's got the fam, so he's taking a little break. But my son plays music and skates, just he's pretty much following in his dad's footsteps.
That's awesome,
which I love.
Yeah,
but now he's got the 10-year-old son and 2-year-old daughter, so maybe he'll get back at it someday. But right now he's just raising a family,
right? But that's the thing, is that we're proving it here. I got an offer to do a project, and at this point I'll probably end up jinxing it. But I'm trying to, for the Left Outs, I'm trying to get Sam in some capacity to do drums with us, with Brian and I. And I got another offer for a synth band. This is what I'm worried about jinxing, because I haven't heard back from them, but Ronnie from the Excrements hit me up on TikTok, of all things, and gave me this whole thing about, let's start this band, and the whole idea of synth band, and he and I are the two singers, We can have cardboard cutouts. We can have guests, people doing. I'm like, fuck, I just turned 54. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I still, I don't skate enough. I was going to do a video for my birthday, but
Yeah.
I also don't like doing videos of me skating.
Right.
I don't even have any videos. I don't have any pictures of, God, even all the way. Yeah, there might be a couple in my youth, but I was supposed to ride at SeaWorld. I was, I dropped my sponsors specifically because I started getting really messed up when I was 18.
Sure.
But it was also a punk rock thing. I don't want to be told when to skate.
Yeah.
But now at 54, it's like I'm ready. It's time for me to spread the fucking wings and
Absolutely.
I want to get out. And again, I can't express this enough. Is being able to have these conversations and being able to sit with you and talk about these things. We could go for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
And at some point we will.
Sure.
But what it's doing is it's opening up the door.
Yeah.
It's getting people talking. It's rebuilding the scene. A lot of this stuff, the early stuff, Jerry doesn't even know about because he wasn't privy to the union. He came in at Metro.
Yeah.
So, but just the love, the respect for the scene, and just everything about it. I mean, this is part of keeping it alive, and this is a story that's never really been told.
Yeah.
Sure.
The short-lived house.
That we could do. I would love to sit here with. I tried to get Chris in, but he couldn't make it for whatever reason.
Sure.
To get Sam.
I told Sam, get a hold of Ray. Let's try to get Ray.
I would love to. I haven't talked to Ray since he was at Home Depot.
A hermit now, but I would love to get Ray in here and have.
Didn't Ray marry Holly?
Yes.
The soda girl.
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And that makes sense. I'm kind of a hermit as well, but I can't help it. Jerry's helped bring this out of me. And then we're also, we've got some other projects. At this point, I don't really want to spill the beans on too much, but we've been working on a few things for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
We have something in mind. We're just, got to get our ducks in a row. And
I've been busy more. I've been busy more this year than I ever been.
Yeah.
Ever been in music. I recorded 3 albums with 3 different bands this year.
That's amazing.
So in February, we did Inciting Riots. Like, the CD thing is like out of, no one listens to CDs anymore. Now everything's going to streaming and all that shit.
Yeah.
So we were like, we want to put out a record. So we put out a 7-inch. It's so funny because we just recorded the 7-inch in February, and we just got an email just now saying it's almost ready to be shipped. So we're like, okay. We were hoping it was going to be a year later, but we got 5 songs on the 7-inch we're about to release.
Oh, okay. So the one I have isn't the one that...
I'm not sure. Maybe Lenny gave you a copy of it. It's called Turn Off the News. It's a new.
That sounds really familiar. I would have to.
Yeah, check it out. And then I just I play bass for the Homosexuals. We just recorded the whole album, 10 songs.
Jeez.
That's being mixed. And Dying Species just went in the studio, and I'm going to finish my vocals for that tomorrow. Actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, all this stuff, when you start posting, obviously got to share.
Yeah.
And then when it comes down to when we publish this, I want to make sure and get as much information to put on the information when we publish the podcast, which will be in a couple of months easily.
Yeah.
But other than that, with home life and work life and everything is just, it's working now for you, or, I mean, how are you?
What's funny is
you make me seem like I'm lazy now.
I know, right? And what's funny is I consider myself lazy but it's so crazy because, dude, I've been so fucking busy, right? So first of all, it was just skateboarding, doing the ways to ways, and then I had a ex-fiance. That didn't go over well. It ended up just going bad, and then I got just like in this fucking deep fucking depression,
Yeah, I can relate.
The deepest depression where you're just like, I work Monday through Friday, but dude, like on a Saturday, I never even got out of the fucking bed. I got out of the bed to fucking piss and get a drink of water and be back in bed.
I would get out to grab beer. That's it.
I didn't even want to drink.
And that was after Soma. I mean,
right. I mean, I was just like deep.
Yeah,
right?
I can relate.
And I was doing Inciting Riots, you know, still, because I've been doing that with Lenny since 2014. I don't know how many years that is. I've been in the band 9 years. Lenny's just like, a lot of people don't know him like I know him. He's like, he comes across, you know, whatever he comes across as. But I'm telling you right now, he's the sweetest, biggest teddy bear ever.
Oh yeah.
And if he's your, like, he does not like this there, but if he's your friend, he will do a lot for you.
Oh yeah.
Anything for you, you know.
Yeah. Well, he came onto the podcast. That was huge to me. I didn't think I would be able to get him to come on the podcast.
Sure. He's a great guy, but you know, when I was doing like Inciting Riots, just doing that, and I was like coming to practice, he's like, dude, like, what are you doing with yourself? I'm just like, nothing, man. I'm just this, that. And,
yeah.
I'd be talking about the ex. He's like, stop talking about her. She's done with you. I'm like, forget all that stuff. What else is new? I'm like, well, homosexuals messaged me, and they're like, yo, will you play bass for us? I'm like, well, I'm not a bass player. And they're like, well, perfect. That's what we want. We want someone that doesn't play bass. But, you know, it's funny is I do play bass, and I do have a bass guitar and a bass amp and all this stuff because I, you know, do home recordings and, you know, write my music. And so, but I never really played bass in a band, you know, and I told them
so
that.
It's knocking you out of your comfort zone.
So I told those guys, I was like, no, I don't know if I'm ready for that, you know.
Yeah.
Originally I told those guys, I was like, no, I don't know. I don't think so. You know, they're like, okay, well, thanks, you know, whatever. And then Lenny is just like, dude, I think it'd be good for you to join that band. I'm like, why? He's like, dude, it'll get you out of your comfort zone, and you can be introduced to a whole different crowd of people that you normally don't hang with. Maybe you can meet someone else, or just like get out of comfort zone and have fun. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
It's a new way of thinking too.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
So I called Chris Henry and Screaming Yeehaws, Hobo Torch, Homosexuals guitar player.
Yeah.
And I was like, Chris, yeah, I'll do it. And he's like, oh, awesome, dude. Yeah. So it's funny is so I was in that deep depression, and that kind of like brought me out of it. And then I started doing the other band, and then and then I'm doing 3 bands, and then I met my I started hanging out with my wife that I'm married to now. Then I hang out with her. Got married. Already have a job, but my old job has been having me come and work because they're doing political. It's a print company. They do a lot of the political signs.
Oh, okay.
So I've been doing like 2 jobs, 3 bands, and now I'm married, and now it's just like, it was cool when I was depressed and single and I had nothing going on. You know what I mean?
I totally did.
But now it's like, what the fuck did I get myself into? You know?
Yeah.
But now the other job dropped off, which is thank God. And me and my wife have been talking about buying that company, by the way, which is hopefully is going to work out.
Wow.
Yeah, but then you know, when we were talking about that, now I got a huge promotion at my job now. So I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm pretty much at my life right now going, what the fuck am I going to do? I'm running I spread myself so fucking thin. Like, what the fuck am I going to do? But guess what? I'm doing actually everything I love. So
that's the key to life.
And guess what? I'm not so depressed anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
I'm waking up every morning, cleaning the house, doing the dishes, you know, yelling at my daughter because she still lives with me, you know.
Yeah.
Yelling at the daughter and her boyfriend because I found like black marks on the spoons and stuff that I had to wash and shit like that. You know, like, get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, you know, I still live the punk rock life and doing it at 50, dude.
Yeah.
You know.
That's brilliant. If you ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, you make me see, I mean, I've got my things. I do this. I had the charity program that was more public, but now I do it behind the scenes. So I paint skateboards. I make them complete, and I just give them to unfortunate kids.
Yeah.
I have a whole big batch that I'm giving that got donated. So in the interim, I'm painting a series of 10 decks
Yeah.
for the guy that donated all these boards. And so by Christmas, I'm going to be giving away at least a dozen skateboards and some helmets.
That's amazing.
And I don't want to make a big deal of it, but it keeps me focused because doing that, it makes me justify having what I have. And I still kind of have the skateboard company, but I like doing things my way. And I don't want to really put together a team yet because I'm not ready for all that. But at some point, I'm going to be like, all right, fuck it. And I'm going to bring a bunch more down on me.
Yeah.
Because, I still do my landscaping. That's the main gig.
Yep.
But it's time for more music, and it's just,
Yep.
it's that time, and things are coming in together to where I'm starting to realize I can do those things. Because I have a problem with depression I've had forever. So when I had to leave Soma, that, and again, all the rumors and everything that's going behind it, I was afraid to go outside. I was actually ashamed to do anything. It was a really weird place. So I started filling it with little things. And now with all this that's going on, I've got my groove, but I'm not quite there yet. I need a little bit more music, maybe a couple projects that I can do, even if I, write music twice a month. We have everything right there. My wife just goes in, she's learning the drums, so she just goes in there and plays. And, I got a new pedal that I was messing around with, and I'm like, it's not for me. I'm going to stick with my old school. But to be in a place where I can pick up a new pedal and try to figure it out and then be like, nah.
Right.
Is a cool place to be.
Absolutely.
Number one, to be able to buy a new pedal.
Yeah. I've been fucking around with that lately, too.
And it's kind of fun.
I got the raw dogged it.
What's that?
I've always raw dogged it.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I've been playing guitar for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I've been around people that have all these pedal boards and shit.
Yeah.
But I have like ADD, and like my mind goes over. And when I'm on stage, it's like, dude, I wouldn't remember what fucking pedal it was. I would get so fucking confused about all these pedals,
That's why I keep it simple.
I just started out with one.
Which one are you using?
Right now, I'm just using what's cool about this pedal is I play in the 3-piece band, right? 3-piece, it's like a little. So what I'm doing is I'm using 2 amps instead of 1. I put one on that side of the stage and the other one. So I got this pedal. It's called it's called A, B, and Y.
Yeah.
So what's rad about the pedal is like with the pedal, I can control each amp individually instead of, I used to daisy chain it, which you could only use one, power source.
Yeah.
And one, but now I got the ABX pedal where you can individually control each amp individually, and then you can hit the pedal for the amp on the left side, hit the pedal again, the amp on the right side, then hit it again, both amps,
stereo.
Dude, it is like if you're a musician and you're
I have an AB switch.
It is the best thing. So that's. But I do love the choruses and all these other kind of pedals, and like I want to start experimenting more with that. But yeah, I do love it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna do it live yet. I do that ABY pedal, but as far as the effects, like I said, if I have too much going on at once, like I get all fucking. Where am I on the song all of a sudden?
Yeah, because I got the orange metal.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And then I've got a super chorus.
Sure.
But I have those linked in. So I just have them on.
Yeah.
And that's it. If anything, then I might lose some distortion. But I find I can play and I can pick, or I have all my tricks because I don't play the bass normal. But I have to have it distorted, and I can make it just sound surfy.
Yeah.
Or I can make it sound like Barney from Napalm Death while trying to grunt out, we'll just use our imagination. But I have this enchanted pedal. I got it number one because it's the spookiest. It's not. The shit the way that I play, Lemmy's in his grave goes, oh, God, he's playing again. Oh, fuck. But I like that control for myself, and it's kind of because I can't play guitar with the dam.
Right.
But I can play a distorted bass.
Right.
I can play a clean bass.
Right.
And it depends on what strings I'm in the mood for. I can ADD on it so hard, but I have my core that I really like. And it just, the guitar doesn't even have to be there, and I can make up in harmony on my bass.
That's great.
So,
Really fun.
but I'm just not doing it in a band right now.
Yeah, no, what's funny is what you were just talking about. I am doing that in a band with homosexuals. I play the clean bass and I play with a distortion pedal.
Nice.
So which I really love it too, because I can play the clean bass, and then when I want it to be whatever it wants to be, I can hit the distortion pedal, and you got just that much more of. With the other two guitar players, it's
a lot of meat.
It's a lot of meat, absolutely, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun actually in the San Diego music scene right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands that are popping up all over, and
who's your favorite local band?
God, that's a really good question.
You know what mine is? The Grids.
Okay, I remember seeing that name.
Ryan Fox.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's one of his bands.
That's right.
And they definitely sound like Fishwipes.
Yeah.
They actually cover a couple of Fishwipe songs.
Yeah.
Dude, that was one of the bands in San Diego that just was so inspirational, Ryan's so crazy, and they had that solid just constant, like Matt on the bass is easy.
Oh, yeah, Matt and Gar is just ridiculous.
So basically the Grids is Matt from Fishwife and Ryan.
So Matt is doing it, and then Tony, who's my neighbor over there, is the drummer.
Oh, okay.
And we see Ryan. Actually, my wife just saw Ryan this morning.
Oh, nice.
And I seen him a couple days ago.
Sweet.
Yeah, he's around. He's
Ryan Fox? He's
he's
I love that guy.
He's helping with he donated money to my charity when I first started it during COVID. Dude, he was doing his own
You
thing.
should see what he did. He had the guy is the sweetest man ever. He goes around and delivers old people food and stuff during COVID, and he's done so much for this community. Not only rocked this community, rock and roll.
Yeah,
but
I got freaking chills big time.
This guy's awesome. Yeah.
Well, you know what? On the note of Ryan, Clint, I gotta thank you. And this is just the beginning.
Absolutely,
we're gonna have to hang more.
Sure.
I'm literally could sit here and just keep chatting, but we gotta
for my brain farting during the podcast. Like I don't usually do podcasts that much, but
it's all good.
Kind of gets in your head sometimes. You start brain farting or thinking about the timelines and shit. And
that's why I don't drink a lot when I'm doing these, because I'll say the same thing 5 times in a row and say
I didn't say the same thing over and over. I don't think I did. I just didn't say anything.
We got a ton of information. There's going to be a lot of shout outs to all of our friends, and thank you for giving me more of the history. And I just the short-lived guys, and going from Wiener Schnitzel to being able to do what I did at Soma, and just to be a part of all this, and to be part of all this talent. Again, I can't express it enough. It's so humbling, but to be able to get other people's stories,
absolutely,
that's priceless.
And what's priceless too is when we all knew each other back then, but everybody's getting older. Everybody's life happens.
Yeah.
But then when you come back around and reminisce about it.
Yeah. And we're telling the story.
I love it. It's great, man.
This is what it is. It's just
history.
Clint, thank you. Yeah.
Music history, San Diego history.
Absolutely.
Can we go out with a short-lived song?
Yeah, let's do a short-lived song if we can find it before we get to our outro. Now Jerry's gonna have to find this one.
Oh,
so which one do you want to go for?
I don't even know. You can
Happy Day.
Sure.
Off of All the Agony.
Yeah, that'd be good. All the Agony is a great song.
Yeah, I'm just thinking Happy Day because of
Victory Garden. Happy Day sounds good
because we went to Jeff and so we. This is the first time that I had to do backing vocals, and we're all doing Happy Day, and I'm even off tune now singing it, so I was keeping low. But a funny story that I've told before is John from Buck 09 tried out for the same band that I did called Mind's Eye. They were like a metal band.
Yeah.
So
he also tried out for Short Lived. You know that?
Oh, he did?
John.
Really?
Buck 09. Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea.
When Davey had first left. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But so
you might have to send him those the I think they're hard to find on YouTube.
I don't even know if they're going to be on there, really. Are you going to be able to find them? I think we're going to have to go out with our break anchor and our usual outro. But yeah, so when I tried out for the band, they told me that I was too I can't remember. Fuck, Jared, do you remember? Was it that I was too punk rock or too metal?
You're too English.
Too English.
I've had so many things told about my vocal style. Cliff Cunningham, Social Spit,
absolutely,
told me to lose the English accent.
He did.
I said, "Fuck you." No, I didn't say. I was just like,
mate.
I was like, "What do you talk? This is the way I sing." I mean, Waddy's a huge influence on my singing. Right. Yeah. But nonetheless, he's still doing Social Spit, and I'm sitting here doing this spot.
He's a sweet man.
He's a legend.
Is great. Oh, absolutely.
We find some short-lived, or we're just killing it. Clint, thank you, brother.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Yep.
This podcast was recorded at Red Rum Skates. Mixed by me, Jer. Music provided by Breakacre. We appreciate all our listeners and our guests. Please stay tuned till the next one. Have a great one. Bye.